There's a lot of confusion around the Optimus humanoid robot. I see it online, I see it in the comments, and for the most part, I think the confusion is due to a few simple misconceptions. I wanted to take these misconceptions one at a time with the hope that saying all of this out loud might create even more comments from you guys that will help me better think about the bot and communicate it better in this space. We've talked an awful lot about the bot over the last months, but of course, I also know that there's new folks coming on board all the time who haven't heard all this previous conversation. But I don't think there's any channel that has spent more time and more energy both researching as well as having great guests on about the Optimus bot. And in fact, I've started an entire channel that's going to be about the Optimus bot, which I should be able to announce in a couple of days exactly what that channel number is. We finished the first video and it will be coming up soon, and it will be 100%. That's all it's going to be talking about is the Optimus, because that's how important it is, how excited I am by it. It is by far the most important product. Well, in fact, the humanoid robot, according to Elon Musk, will be the biggest single revenue producer in human history. Serious analysts have talked about the humanoid replacing 33% of human labor, might be even more than that. And that's currently about 3.5 billion workers. So if you think in those terms, you're talking about over 1 billion robots will be necessary to replace 1/3 of those workers. But Elon believes it'll do much, much more than that. Less expensive labor will allow products and services to be built that are not currently possible due to the labor component making it too expensive. I've seen this literally hundreds of times in my career, where when somebody has brought me a product that they were hoping I could manufacture or represent them, or maybe have it made for them in China or in Taiwan or Japan or Taiwan or some other place around the world. I've had products made everywhere from Spain to South America. I mean, sometimes products need to be made in various places based on what's going on in those locations. But sometimes even the labor in the least expensive labor market is still too high. And then when you put the labor component together with the cost of the raw goods and any manufacturing expenses and overhead, it just costs too much. The consumer is not going to be interested at that level. But all of a sudden, if you can reduce the labor dramatically by using a bot, that very same product may have a huge market. It might only be a matter of pennies, or a dollar or two, and you could all of a sudden have a viable product where it wasn't viable previously. There's also going to be services that are not possible now that the robot may make possible. I joke about having my own private bot to massage my back and shoulders, and I'd say I'd pay $10,000 for such a machine if I could just be able to talk to it and say, I'd like it a little lower, okay, a little higher. Could you go a little deeper? Could you use that, this motion instead? You could just tell it exactly what you want. That's kind of the example of a service. You can't have somebody come in and give you massages every single day, twice a day, whatever, but you could if you had a bot just standing there at all times. Millions of services like that people can't afford. Now, remember, different people, different classes, different incomes. This means that something that is only available to the wealthy all of a sudden becomes available to everybody. That's what's going to happen over time with the robots. So they'll not only replace existing jobs, they will be used to do jobs that are not being done now because not enough people can afford it. It will push the product downstream, as you've seen with televisions and the size of the television, et cetera. So many products over the years. All right, so this is Randy Kirk, by the way, in case for those of you who've never been here before. This is Randy Kirk, and the job that I have for you right now is to help the channel. You can do that by hitting like, by hitting subscribe, and by hitting notify. This is going to be out on Friday around the noon hour in California. And so what you're looking forward to tonight is Larry Goldberg being on to help me with Good News Friday. What you're looking forward to tomorrow morning is I'm going to do your Q&A. I'm going to look at the comments and stuff that you've been making on this channel, and I'll answer a bunch of those comments or add to those comments, etc. And then all the regular programming on Sunday. No, I'm sorry. That may not be true. I think on Sunday, I don't know what we're going to have on Sunday. I haven't decided. Never mind. All right. So please also join Patreon. We need lots more support on the channel in order to make this a valuable income to me, which it needs to be. You know, if I'm going to do this for the next 5 or 10 years, I'd love to be able to make enough money to justify it. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Number one, when will Optimus be able to fold my laundry? So this is by far the most common question that I get. Now, I'm all about getting my shoulders rubbed, and many others seem to be concerned about household chores like cooking and cleaning and ironing. And this use of Optimus, though, is probably at least 3 to 5 years into the future. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to take 3 to 5 years for the Optimus to be able to do a good job of ironing or sorting or folding or any of these things. Folding might be something it can do now. I would not be at all shocked if Optimus can fold various different kinds of clothing right this minute. The problem is that commercial users will outbid consumers for the product for at least 3 to 5 years. The commercial application for this is where all the action is, not the home application. As much as all of us would like to have that, and as much as it would be fun, and as much as it'd be great to show our neighbors that we've got a robot doing this work, that is not where the business is going to start. It will be in factories because the factory owners can afford to spend, well, we'll talk about that in a minute, $6,000, maybe more. So if the tech is good enough and you are rich enough, well, maybe it'll happen sooner. I'm expecting the bots to rent for about $60,000 per year, maybe even let's call it $72,000 per year, $6,000 a month. Even though they will only cost about $5,000 to build, Tesla will be dumb to sell them for a normal markup. Let's say to sell them, I normally mark things up 5 times. That's pretty much what you have to do in businesses. From manufacturing to retail, you have to mark them up about, depends on how many levels of retail you have, or wholesalers you have in the middle. But even on things that go on Amazon, you have to mark things up 5 times in order to pay Amazon, to pay for advertising, to pay for freight, because you're shipping it out freight free, et cetera, et cetera. So whatever your landed cost is, you have to multiply it by 5 on Amazon. And that's 4 to 5 times is what you have to do if you're selling it in a retail store. So from the manufacturing on the floor cost through to the retail customer is 4 to 5 times. So let's call it 5 times. So if it's going to cost $5,000 to build, you'd have to sell it for $25,000 to a consumer. Well, I don't think they're going to do that, because if they started selling them for $25,000 a piece, I would start buying them and I would start renting them out for $60,000 or $72,000 a year to manufacturers who'd be willing to pay for it all day long, as long as there's a shortage, which there will be for years and years. There will not be enough to fill the TAM for a very, very long time. So therefore, you can see where the problem gets. Now, before everybody yells at me in the comments, yes, on an object that costs like $5,000, no, you don't have to go 5 times to retail. I should have said that up front. So probably you would be able to do more like 3 times to retail. So let's say $15,000 would probably be the retail price if it was costing $5,000 landed on the floor. All right. Now, if you want to have a robot helping out your mansion for $72,000 a year, well, you might be among the first to have one, because you'll be able to bid in that group of manufacturers, wholesalers, etc. All right. Now, number 2, why do you think they will rent for $6,000 a month? Well, number 1, why do you think it'll rent, period? Okay. So the reason it's going to be rented is because same thing, no matter what you sell it for. If you sell it for $100,000, I would still buy it for $100,000 and I would rent it out to somebody for $72,000 a year. And in a year and a half, it would be paid for. And after that, it'd be all gravy. So I don't think Tesla's going to sell them. Now, maybe, I mean, they could sell them for a couple $100,000, let's say, and maybe at that point it might make sense, and there would certainly be a cash flow advantage to that. But one individual asks, and I think I actually might have that in the comments. I'm probably getting ahead of myself here because I think somebody did ask that. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, maybe I didn't write that one down, but somebody said, well, why rent instead of sell? You're going to, and you know, the reality, does Tesla want to wrap up all that money in terms of holding on to the capital cost? Well, they're only going to be like $5,000 a piece. So no, I don't think that is going to be an issue. All right. So now why 6,000 instead of 8,000 or 20,000 or whatever? So it's very easy to prove that Optimus will be worth at least $200,000 per year in the factory. You might have seen my show. We've talked about this many times before, but you merely have to assume that the all-in cost for a basic factory worker today is $50,000 at least. And for some factory workers, that would be something that Optimus can do, might be much, much more than $50,000 a year. Now, the Optimus bot can work 4 shifts, okay? It's never going to tire. It's never going to be, I mean, it might have to have parts and stuff replaced, but basically it's going to work 4 shifts. So now you take that 50,000, multiply times 4, that gives you $200,000. So it's worth $200,000 a year. So you should be able to rent it out for something close to $200,000 a year. I mean, a factory owner may or may not want to replace a worker if it was exactly the same cost to have the bot, although the bot, is more dependable. It's not going to quit. It's not going to create problems in the factory. It's not going to, be coming in and complaining that somebody in the factory is hitting on them or something. So there's some advantage to a bot that are not just in dollars. But so I'm going to say that's one reason why people would want to pay less than they would for a worker. Also, not every factory has 4 shifts, and the TAM on the 4 shifts would be so much smaller than factories that have, let's say, 2 shifts, which is fairly normal. I always had 3 to 4 shifts, but mostly 3 shifts. When you have 3 shifts, that's the maximum use of the building. That's why I always tried to shoot for 3 shifts, but not many companies have 3 shifts. So I'm thinking Tesla will come up with a reasonable price that will take into consideration the folks that have 2 shifts and folks that have $50,000 a year employees and folks that have $70,000 a year employees, and not knowing that they're not going to go exactly for the same price as an employee would. So that's where I came up with my $72,000 a year. Okay, what will Optimus be able to do in 2024 that will make the bot useful in a factory? So I had all kinds of people asking this question. And I think the problem is a lot of you have not worked in factories, or you have not owned a factory. But I can start with this. Tom Zhu commented that half the employees in the new unboxed production down in Mexico will be Optimus bots. That should be the end of the question, because if he's going to use 5,000 bots and 5,000 employees on the product line, on the manufacturing line, I guess there's a lot of uses for bots in factories. I'm just saying. But just for fun, let me keep going. You don't need a sophisticated robot to handle factory work. And so you could go out with the robot. I continue to state that robot that we saw just a couple of weeks ago, and even the robot that we saw 6 months ago, those robots could be doing factory work right now, okay? Scott Walter did a video months ago where he showed a walkthrough in part of the Tesla factory in Shanghai. He pointed to employees who were picking up parts, walking over, and putting them into a situation where the robot, a big stationary robot, could come down, pick it up, and then move it into some kind of production or assembly. That's all that employee did all day long. Pick it up over here, walk over, put it down over there for the bot to pick it up. Well, that's a pretty easy job for a bot to do, and it's one that there are, again, hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of humans around the world that are doing those kinds of things. There's feeding parts is a big deal. Let's take a t-shirt printing. I just had one of my clients, he was in t-shirt printing. You know, I was in bottle printing. Okay, you need to pick up the bottle and put it in the printer. You need to pick up the t-shirt and you need to lay it on a platen in order for the screen to come over and do what it has to do. And then when it's all done doing that, you have to pick up the t-shirt and put it into a dryer. And then somebody at the other end of the line has to pick up this t-shirt off the end of the dryer and put it into a pile or fold it or put it into a bag or whatever. All of those jobs are jobs that can be done by Optimus bots. And there are millions of t-shirt printers, not millions of water bottle printers, but lots of water bottle printers. And, but again, you know, even the water bottle manufacturing process on a small company like mine, we were only making 5 million bottles a year. And when you're making 5 million bottles a year, you're using small equipment and you have to have somebody standing in front of the equipment. When the mold opens and the bottle is ejected and released out, it goes into a box, and eventually somebody has to get that box, take the box, and put them into another box where that box goes on a shelf until it's ready to be printed. These are processes that a robot can do, and there's millions and millions of folks around the world doing that kind of work, taking a product off the end of a line and putting it into a package. You know, it's going to be displayed in a retail store. And so the product has to go into a blister pack or into maybe it goes into a sealed pack of some kind. It goes into a box like the Cybertruck magnetic box. It has to be taken and put into the box, and then the foam goes over that. The box is closed. Labels have to be put on. Then that goes into an inner pack, maybe of 10, and then that inner pack gets closed. It has to have tape closed. Maybe that goes into an automatic taper, and then but somebody has to put it into the automatic taper, take it out the other end. Then that goes into a master pack. The master pack has to be labeled. It has to be taped, etc., etc. Anyway, so now you have people that are picking and packing. So in a warehouse or a manufacturer, you have raw materials coming in, or you have product coming in master packs. Those have to be opened possibly before they're put on the shelf into inner packs, because you want to have the ease of picking up inner packs as opposed to having the master pack sitting there. So you have a robot that can go in and put those on the shelf. Then you have another robot that is taking the inner packs off and putting them maybe onto a conveyor belt that's taking them, or maybe not. Maybe they're being put into a push basket or of some kind. And some of these things are being done by robots now, but these robots will just be so much better at this kind of stuff and so much less expensive because they're going to be manufactured in quantity. And then there's the other end. I think I've covered all that. I think I've made my point. Millions and millions and millions of bots, maybe a billion bots, maybe more than a billion bots, can replace factory workers, construction workers, and other workers that are doing these kind of simple tasks and even more complicated tasks as they get better and better. So then the next question, does an Optimus have to be as fast as a human? Absolutely not. It probably will be, so this question probably becomes moot, but if the Optimus could achieve the job at 50% of human capability, the factory will rent 2. I mean, if they need it, if that's what they need, they'll rent 2. But, you know, the Optimus doesn't take breaks. It doesn't get sick. It works tirelessly. It doesn't go off and smoke a joint in the back room someplace. So even at half speed, it might get close to producing as much product as the humans do. I also suspect that Optimus will be faster than humans at some point, if not already. So I think Tesla should, I think that answers that question. The next one, shouldn't Tesla keep experimenting and improving and iterating, adding more features, and then bring out a really amazing, fully featured bot with that's fully artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence? Isn't that what they're really shooting for, is to come out with something that's just absolutely amazing and ready to go? Well, who does that? Not Google, not Amazon, not Tesla, not me. You come out with what you've got that works, that'll sell when it's ready and it's ready to go out. You don't sit there holding on to, let's not come out for another year because we can iterate and make it even better and better and better. Heck no. If it will sell see, if it's a compelling product at a compelling price, to quote Elon Musk, at the point that this product, any product, I don't care what the product is a compelling product at a compelling price, and you can manufacture it and you can make it at a cost that it will allow a compelling price, you come out with it. You don't wait. Even the Cybertruck just came out. Amazing product. Oh my gosh, so many fabulous new ideas and concepts. But you and I both know that there will be an over-the-air update within 60 days that'll make it even better. You and I both know that there will be changes and iterations that will be made to the Cybertruck within 2 months, 3 months. They'll already be making changes and iterations. You know, I have my uncle, my mom's brother, worked for IBM. He was the senior engineer responsible for the rollout of the first ever scanners that IBM did at the grocery stores. And he told me that IBM always had 4 versions of the product lined up: the current sales version, the one that's in tooling, the one that's in development, and the one that's still in the lab. And they're not going to wait for the one in the lab to come all the way to the point where it's being manufactured before selling the other versions that they already have that they know are good. So no, they don't have to wait. When that product is a compelling, useful product that they can sell or rent, in this case, at a compelling price, it will come out, and then they'll keep making them better and better. So then this question, what about the actual integration of Optimus into the workplace? Won't there need to be a huge number of highly trained employees to oversee deployment in all these different factories doing all these specific tasks? Well, this is something I spent a lot of time on. I did a long video previously. Folks who sell computers, folks who sell elaborate automation and robotics equipment, that sell even really serious printers, phone systems, they generally have highly trained reps who accompany the finished product to the factory or meet there when the product gets there and it's set up. And they help the company. Sometimes they help the company actually assemble it and get it ready in place. Sometimes they help with the training and everything else. Sometimes that person will be in the plant for a day, 2, 3, in order to get the product useful to the customer. So I could see a typical employee from Tesla taking maybe 2 days, 1 to 3, let's say 1 to 3 days, maybe an average of 2 a week. Let's say they could set up 2 of these a week. So maybe they'll be located in specific regions. There'll be people, regionally, so they don't have to stay in hotels and whatever, but let's just say they have to fly. So you fly someplace on Sunday night, you set up one on Monday, Tuesday, you fly on Wednesday, you set up another one on Thursday, Friday, and you're home, for the weekend. This is a normal kind of life, believe me, for these kind of reps. So that would mean a typical person could do about 100 a year. That'd be 100 per employee. So how many would that mean if you need to set up 100,000? Well, you'd need 1,000 employees for that task. That's doable. So if there's only going to be 100,000 next year, which I think is a doable number, you're going to need 1,000 employees to go out and help set these up. Now in 2005 or 2006, if you got 1 million bots, now you need 10,000 employees to do that. So I'm betting that during the first year, there will be methods created that allow for closer to like 1 day per bot average. So maybe the employee who doesn't fly around, because now you got so many of them, you've got regional employees. So they go out, they spend 1 day installing, and maybe over time it comes down to videos and Zoom that'll take over this job entirely. And then don't forget, some of these situations, the same factory is going to order 10 to do the same job, or 20 or 50. So it's not always going to take a one-on-one situation. This is a huge issue. That's why I spent so much time on it. And it's true that whether Tesla hits 1 million in 2024 or 2025 or 2026, I'm sure they're working on this issue right now. So, do you have any remaining questions, thoughts, ideas, pushback on anything that I had to say there? And if you like this, if this was useful, if this helped, please hit like, please hit subscribe, please hit notify, and then join Patreon. The information is down below. You just click on the link to Patreon. It's only $5 a month. I know you're getting $5 worth of value out of these videos, so please help out the channel. It's been great, as always, talking to you. Is somebody going to join Patreon? All right, I'm going to make a deal. This is going to be, I've done this once before. It worked a little bit. Actually got a lot of people joining Patreon the last 2 weeks, but the last 2 days, not a single soul. So let's get you up on Patreon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 1 free audiobook. You can have 2 free if you want, or you can have 1 free audiobook and the Cybertruck bottle opener. How's that? 1 and 1. Okay. If you join at the $10 level, not at the $5 level, if you join at the $5 level, you just get the 1 book. Now, if you're completely new to the channel, this is a bottle opener. It is a refrigerator magnet. It is 3 millimeter thick, stainless steel, really, really tough. Comes in a very cool magnetic box that makes it a great gift item. So, you know, it's got all kinds of people now buying them as gifts as a result of the fact that I have so many people that want to buy them as gifts, and they're putting in these larger orders. I do have it all down. I think I put it all down below. I'll have to double check and make sure that it's up to date. They're normally $25 a piece. You get 2 for $45. You get 3 for $60. Okay. You get 100 for $210, and you get 200 for $400. Gets you all the way down to $20 a piece. If you are out of the country, I need you to add another $20 to that for freight, whichever one of those ones you pick. And then if you are, and then please let me know camo or regular. And of course you can mix and match if you buy quantities, however you want to set that up. So is there anything else I have left for you tonight? I think I've said it all. I have enjoyed speaking with you yet again.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.